All right. Hello, everyone. It's Angela Rye. I am one of your hosts for Native Land Pod. And normally on Tuesdays, I have something called a solo pod. And y'all, I've been busy. I've been in the streets working with State of the People. And so, because of that travel schedule, I have not seen you all in a really long time. So, I'm going to say welcome home to myself on Tuesdays. And really grateful to be spending this time with you all today. I have someone joining us today that is truly Native Land Pod fam. She is Congressional Black Caucus family to me. Y'all know those are my forever bosses. And now, as I get older, I'm old, y'all. As I get older, some of them are my siblings, and I have adopted this incredible woman as a sibling. She is a fighter for what is right. She represents the 10th congressional district in New Jersey. Her name is Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, and she's joining us today to talk about as many things as we can before she has to step out. How are you doing, Congresswoman?
Hey sis, it's good to see you. I'm just excited to finally be on with you and be here. So thank you so much for making time. And I know you've been busy, and I'm just so grateful for all of the work you've been doing as well. And so it's such a pleasure to be here with you today.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. So we are getting into some brass tacks, but there are three things at least that I know we got to cover. I want to cover what is wrong with the feds. I want to cover what is wrong with this crazy bill. And I want to cover what this week means to Newark, which of course is your congressional district. So in that order, because I want people to, we normally on our podcast, in with calls to action, Congresswoman, but sometimes there are calls to action that are so imperative, you got to let people know from the outset. So I want to talk about how, in your regular congressional oversight duties, you were outside of an ICE detention facility in Newark. I know you have had to talk about this and relive this over and over again, but I do want you to talk to our audience about what happened from your perspective the day you were outside with Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, Mayor Ras Baraka, who was detained that day and later released. But since then, you have been indicted. And I want people to hear about what they say you've been indicted for. We'll make sure in our playback of this video, we run the clips back because we got receipts too. But I want you to talk about what happened from your perspective.
Absolutely. So it's fine for me to talk about it 1,000 times because, as I always say, the facts are on my side, and I was there doing my job, and I'm always, you can sign me up anytime to talk about doing my job because that's what the people of the 10th elected me to do. I showed up to Delaney Hall as I have showed up to ICE detention centers in my district before to do an oversight visit with my colleagues, two colleagues from New Jersey. Once again, we've done these visits before to a site not too far from this location at Delaney, and we were there because we had heard a lot of feedback about this site. The mayor of the city of Newark, Ras Baraka, had been complaining that they didn't have the proper COs, and this is a privately owned center, detention center. It's been a few things over the past couple of years, and so because of all of these different complaints and things that we were getting, we were doing our job, showing up to do an oversight visit and going to check out what was happening. And then we planned on having a presser to alert the press, a lot of protesters who were there, about what we saw, what we encountered. We were not there to protest. We were not there to do anything other than showing up to have the oversight visit. Through all of that, it ended up turning into a whole confrontation with Homeland Security and ICE officials for no apparent reason other than them trying to hide what was going on in the facility and trying to delay us from going in to do our oversight visit. The mayor of the city of Newark was not there with us to do an oversight visit. He actually had been going there all week long to deliver them citations and to be there with people who had concerns about the facility. So he was already showing up there every day, and he was not there with us to go inside. Many people saw from videos the mayor was detained and arrested for no apparent reason, for a made-up situation that they said he trespassed and went to court and later had those charges dropped. But just unnecessary confrontation that was caused by those federal agencies and the people who run that facility, which is Geo Group, which is a very large private, jail company. They own jails all over this country, and so at the end of the day, it was just super unnecessary. But the bottom line is we were there to do our jobs, have oversight. And later through all of that, believe it or not, we went on a tour of the facility. They, took us on a tour. Finally, hours later, we were able to talk with detainees who told us that they hadn't spoken to lawyers, they hadn't been able to use the phone. Some of them had concerns about getting mental health services there, that they couldn't see a doctor. I mean, we heard it all, and the facility was not up to par. Very much, very empty. Many locations in the jail was unused, and then weeks later, what do we see happen? There's a whole riot at this jail. The detainees are fighting and angry because they haven't been fed in days. And then when they did receive food, it was frozen, and literally they were upset about that. And then they also had people escape from there because they knocked down a makeshift wall that was not permitted to have. Once again, those are the concerns we were there for in the first place, and they broke out. And so that's the reason why oversight is so important and why we were there in the first place.
And there are two things about oversight that folks don't always know if they're not familiar with Capitol Hill or how members of Congress work. So you really had two oversight roles. That is your district, so you're checking out what's in the best interest for your constituents, but you also serve on the Committee on Homeland Security.
Correct.
Which, for those of you who don't understand, there's something called Rule 10 jurisdiction in the House, and each committee has certain oversight responsibilities. ICE is inside of the Department of Homeland Security, so the Congresswoman was operating under a dual track of oversight, and I think that's really important too. So they have a trial set for you on November 10th. What do you need the people to understand before you get to November 10th? What should we be doing?
So, number one, I just want to thank everybody who's been so supportive of me thus far. I mean, we've gotten calls, I've gotten letters, we had people donate to this legal fight and this legal battle over the last couple of weeks. And I am just so grateful, Angela, including you. Thank you for everything that you've been doing. All of those sisters out there who've been checking up on me just to ask how I'm doing. I think people sometimes forget that I'm a mom of a 9-year-old. I'm a wife. I have a family. I have a mother that's scared to death about what is happening. And so I'm just grateful for all of the outcry and support for me. But I think people can definitely support by heading over to my website just to see how they can sign up. Rather it's signing a petition, rather it's, making sure that we're sharing this story, sharing what's happening, and people who are able to contribute. I mean, down to $1. We're thankful for everyone who's been able to do that. So for my website, that's www.LaMonicaForCongress.com. They can go there. But there's so many ways that people can help and support. And I think we have to continue to bring light to what's happening to me, because it's not about me, singly. It's about what they can do to people who stand up against them, who speak out against them, who are doing their job, how they're trying to stop leaders, rather from judges to mayors to congressional members to United States senators, from doing the job that people have elected us to do. And so this is why it's important for all of us. Our democracy is at stake, and we have to be able to, stand up for what is right, stand up for our democracy, stand up for the soul of our democracy, and do what we need to do. So it's just not about LaMonica McIver. This is about us collectively.
I think that is so important. That there are moments where it requires of us to do something else, to do something collaborative, and I think what happened with you is case in point, because if they can do that to a member of Congress who took an oath to oversee exactly where you were, how much more can they do to everyday people? We're learning about this story of a young man named Alex in the Dallas area who was detained by ICE, a Morehouse graduate. Monica, we don't know what's going to happen next with these folks. And so I think it is important for us to understand the disastrous impacts of this administration. Most recently, the 4th of July, there was a signing, right, of a bill into law. The big, terrible, bad, awful, what is wrong with y'all bill, HR 1, the Senate amendment was passed in the House. And I was frustrated because we were spending a lot of efforts. We were on a marathon for 69 and a half hours. We were standing right with y'all. But on the other side of that, it is so frustrating to me when we ask people to call members of Congress who aren't going to change their minds because they're beholden to this man that they've decided is king and can do no wrong. So talk about, given the fact that there are so many things that will impact us and we don't even realize just how bad they will get, talk about what was in that bill and now how it's going to start impacting your constituents and Americans everywhere.
Well, first of all, the bill is awful. It's terrible, and it's based in exactly what they love to push out from the Republicans is cruelty. They everything that is cruel, sign them up for. And I agree. Like there is nothing that you can do because they are sold to Donald Trump. There's nothing that they're going to do. They do not work for the people that have elected them. They work for Donald Trump, period. It's no if, ands, and buts about it. You should not be confused. And the only way to change that is to vote these people out. So I just want to make sure I say that. Some of the things that are crucial in this bill is one, kicking people off of Medicaid, right? I mean, literally seeing 17 million people possibly lose their health care is just tragic. I think that's the most tragic piece of the bill because people will die. We're going to see people lose their health care, people who have cancer, who, are battling illnesses. I mean, literally so many women who are delivering babies who are delivered based off them having Medicaid. I mean, these are things that are going to happen that are going to be drastic. And I think that should open the eyes to everyone. Everyone should have the right to have health care in this country. In the richest country in this world, we should not have people without health care. So that's number one. Number two, the impact to SNAP benefits. There are so many people who basically rely on SNAP benefits, and to have a decrease or people rejected from SNAP benefits, people are going to be go hungry, right? They're going to be moms and dads and families choosing between buying food, paying rent, which they're already doing that today. These SNAP benefits are just a little bit, $6 a day that they're getting for SNAP benefits, which is not enough. SNAP hasn't had an increase to what we're dealing with or rising cost of groceries in probably over a decade, right? Eggs itself is more than $6 at this point, but that is going to be drastic. A lot of new students who have loan payments, they're going to see over 2,000 increase in their loan payment plans. I mean, you coming out of college, you already have loan debt. How are you going to afford to have payments, like that? It's just crazy to think that this is something that these Republicans are pushing and celebrating. I mean, afterwards, Angela, I'm sure you've seen them. They were literally playing YMCA, thumbs up, dancing, smiling,
and praying on the floor.
And talking about the Bible and Jesus, why they did this, why they voted for this. And so these are things, and it's important the work that you're doing, the 24-hour marathons, because you are providing information to people who are out here sometimes falling asleep, which is what Donald Trump want people to do. He wants them to go to sleep. That's why he says, oh, we're done with being woke. But it's important that we continue to tell people, because some of this stuff they're not going to feel right away, right? This stuff is not supposed to happen until after the next midterm election, because they want to get elected again and they don't want people to be upset about it. And so this is why we have to keep talking about what is in this bill, what is happening, and the crazy stuff that they are doing and have voted on.
Yeah, and I know we don't have you long. I do want to say one thing that I appreciate about what you're doing, sis, is you're giving people an alternative. Like we keep talking about, it's not just being in the minority. There's an opposition party that has to rise up. The opposition has to be leading with what are the alternative options. And most importantly, we have to be relying on people power. This week in Newark marks a significant, well, really all of United States history, but it marks a significant point in history with 1967 rather, with the Newark Newark Rebellion. So I want you to talk to our listeners and our viewers a little bit about what this moment means, especially given where we are right now as a people.
So yesterday we reached the anniversary of the 1967 Newark riots, which was a very, very, important matter that happened in the city of Newark. It was something that changed the lives of many, changed the concept of the city of Newark. It was a revolutionary time that we saw happen. And so, especially what we're dealing with right now, we have to continue to remember moments like this, remember the history. And that is why I introduced a resolution with my partners, Rep. Conway and Rep. Bonnie Watson Coleman, a resolution of remembrance for the 1967 Newark riots, because it was a drastic situation way before my time of being born, in the city of Newark, and my mother witnessed witnessed this whole thing at the time of everything that happened. But many people remember there was many people that died. Over 26 people died in the Newark riots. Over $10 million of damages to businesses, both black and brown and white businesses. And literally some of the city has just now started to recover. I mean, from the time I became the Central Ward Councilwoman in 2014, we were just building on some sites that had been vacant since the 1967 Newark riots. That's how long it's taken us to overcome the Newark riots. And a lot came out of that. 3 years later, we elected the first black African-American mayor of the city. We had the Black and Puerto Rican convention. You know, a lot happened around that time, but it really showed how the city united around what happened to, you know, make sure that we were able to come out of that, right, and recover from that. And families are still recovering to this day about that. So I'm super, you know, grateful to be in this particular space and time to be able to introduce this resolution and continue to honor, you know, all of those things and the people that help bring us out of that. The leaders like Mayor Baraka, Mayor Baraka's father, and other people, Junius Williams, and other folks who were around that time who really helped lead the community out of that, and still to this day are doing the work and telling the history about what happened in the city of Newark.
Well, here's to everything you're doing, and I can't wait till they introduce the resolution for you, sis, because you are also making history. And sometimes in the act of making history, it is the most challenging, it is the darkest. People don't realize it until you're on the other side. But we are going to make sure that folks go to the site, they donate to your legal defense fund, that we keep you lifted up in prayer and honoring the work you're doing, even when it's difficult. We really, really, truly thank God for you, and know that on Native Land Pod, you are always welcome home. Congresswoman LaMonica McIver.
Thank you so much, sister. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who watched. And I'm once again so grateful for each and every one of you. And to all of your supporters and viewers, thank you once again.
Thank you. Welcome home, y'all. Okay, everybody. Well, I am feeling really inspired. I'm going to go back and make sure that I know a lot more about what happened in Newark Rebellion, and am really thankful for the moments that Congressional Black Caucus members take to teach us history that they are trying to take out of history books, quite literally in this day and age. Make sure that you comment on YouTube, in the comments on iHeart, and make sure that you tune in on Thursday for our show, our normal show with Tiffany Cross and Andrew Gillum. We're looking forward to hearing from you all. Definitely send in your videos, your comments, your questions. If you say Miss Cross to Tiff, say Miss Rye to me, and vice versa. You understand? But anyway, we will be back recording Wednesday, but you'll see our next episode on Thursday. Until then, welcome home, y'all. It's been real. Native Land Pod is a production of iHeartRadio in partnership with Reason Choice Media. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. Mm-hmm.